Can you make your mic a little bit less sensitive in the party settings so that you don't pick up the background noise?
Yep. How's that?
Much better.
Okay. I'll shut the door too.
Yeah. Okay, so that's just going to get announced in the Discord. We should be good to go. Okay, let's get comments set up.
Already into the 103s.
Yeah, it's Hemi doesn't take a day off, does he?
Nah.
Alright, so welcome everybody to the first round of the season in NRL. If anyone can let me know whether you guys can hear Dace and stuff in the background or if anything needs to change. Do some talking, Dace, there we are. You do be talking. Okay, so let's have a look at... Calcis goes P2 with a 104.2.
Can't you hear Dace?
I think we only have 2 guys on medium with that right now. ERT Samba and Exotic are the only 2 guys that gave it a go.
Yep, Callywob's...
Not at all.
Yeah, Callywob's just put himself up into P5. Although it looks like he might still be pushing on a second consecutive lap, which is something you can get away with here in Austria, of course, because it's a pretty short lap. There's not that many corners in comparison to some other tracks, so the tyre wear not necessarily as high. Dundee goes P2. You need to turn up your mic volume, Dace.
But very quiet.
Steinzap appears to be on a hot lap as well. Nope, he backs off just before the last corner.
Yeah, it looks like Callie is going to improve on this one.
The boys.
Is this about good for the mic level?
I don't know, I'll see what chat says. It hasn't changed much in my ears, to be honest.
Okay.
And Calliope does improve, I think, there to a 103.998. So the only other driver other than ERT Henry to actually get underneath the 104 barrier. I'm sure he won't be the last. Steinzap's on a hot lap as well. He goes into the downhill right-hander, hooking it up quite well there on the curbing on the inside. Get the throttle down nice and early to get a good exit, which helps you just carry that advantage all the way to the horseshoe. See, he's left a little bit on the table through there. He could have pushed a little bit more with the track limits on the outside, but it's still enough to go purple according to the track map. Approaches the last set of corners total commitment. He has to lift off a little bit there because he would have run wide, and he's invalidated at the last corner. So, yeah, a little bit scruffy there through the last couple of corners there from Steins. That's going to invalidate his next lap as well. I mean, I doubt he would have had enough fuel
corner,
anyway.
He had a 103 in the bag.
Yeah, it was looking like a pretty decent lap, but he definitely left a little bit on the table. He could probably go even quicker. I'm not sure if Honesy is on a hot lap here. He doesn't have much fuel left. I don't think he is.
No.
Let's see what Toss is doing.
And that'll be it for Stein's run. He's running out of fuel.
Yeah, he'll be into the pits and out to set another one, I'd imagine, pretty soon. Here comes Toss.
Not a bad lap on mediums there.
Through the last couple of corners, just touches the sausage curb, keeps it within the track limits, unlike Steins that. Crosses the line. Where is it? It's P6 with a 104.3. 5 seconds off of our provisional pole time.
Not bad. How about Calcis, though? Almost breaking into the 103s on mediums.
Yeah, very impressive lap there from Calcis, trying to open up some strategy options, it would appear. I think this is our current provisional pole sitter, ERT Henry, starting a lap. He's run really wide there, and that is an invalidation.
But I was a little confused why most of the people didn't try a lap on mediums with them being so close to the softs here. Most tracks you can't really get within half a second.
Mm-hmm.
Probably banking on the early safety car, huh?
I would imagine so. Or maybe they, maybe they're just putting that much of an emphasis on the track position as well. But yeah, you'd think this would be a track where you'd want to go for the mediums. You can overtake as soon as the tyre advantage starts to come into play.
Yeah, especially because most of the first stint you're in a train anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you're on those mediums, that can give you a bit of an offset to make some progress throughout the field. Once the softs start to drop off a little bit. We just had Mark of Kenya rejoin in the lobby. I hope that's not going to cause any sort of glitches, because we know how temperamental this game is. As through the last couple of corners comes Jurdy. And he can't keep it within the track limits. It's going to be another invalidation. He's put 4 laps of fuel in though, so he's going to go again.
We still have 7 drivers yet to set a lap.
Looks like Vengeance is going to come into the pits.
Zamba is aborting his lap on mediums to head into the pits.
Looks like Exotic's on a hot lap as well on softs. Nope, never mind. Looked like he had his ERS light on there.
Might want to keep an eye on David Shahood here. He looks like he's about to start a lap on mediums.
Yeah, one of the few guys that has elected to try a run on those medium tyres. We'll see where that can put him.
I think he does have the pace to make it up about as close as Calcis did.
We'll have to wait and see. Oh, he's very ambitious through there, but he doesn't invalidate. I don't know how.
That was close.
It looked like he would have invalidated on the inside of the first corner and on the exit as well, but
clearly he didn't get my copy of the F1 game.
I think that's, yeah, perhaps. Perhaps that's what it is. Using all the curb on the entry, just hooks it up a little bit to the apex. Then he gets the drive then to the horseshoe. Ducking into the left, how much does he take? He takes a lot on the outside, then hooks it back up on the inside again, doesn't invalidate on the exit. That's the last couple of corners.
On the curb.
Make or break moment. We've seen a lot of people invalidate as Domi Lee goes fastest with a 103.8. David Jehu crosses the line for a very respectable P7. That's a good lap there. Only less than just over a tenth off Calcis.
This top 10 is looking spicy.
Calcis is out on softs as well now. Although it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do a lap because he has invalidated and he does not have enough fuel for another run. Kalirov has also invalidated. He's coming into the pits, it would seem. I think Steinzap is on an out lap as well. Dundee comes into the pits. Hood obviously on his in lap.
We have a Haas. Ooh, the Haas almost DNF'd himself right there. Sector 3.
Yeah, Andre OG. Yeah, he's
Looked like
going to need a new front wing there.
Tires.
ERT Samba is on a hot lap, I think, now. On the way up to turn 3. Goes purple in sector 1. Gets great rotation through the right hander. That was absolutely gorgeous. Down the straight we go now, heading towards turn 4. Let's see just how late he can brake. Uses all the curb. Gets it hooked up. Mock's retired, but I think that's just because he joined late. Using the curb on the entry here. Samba washes out a little bit wide. Just uses the throttle to try and rotate the rear of the car into the corner.
Guys are using 6th gear here in that corner.
Purple again through sector 2. He's got to keep it within the lines here. Hooks it over the sausage curb. Power down. Didn't look like a perfect exit, but it wasn't bad. On the run up to the line, it goes purple with a 103.4. 4/10 faster than Domi Lee. And it seems like we have a slight lull in proceedings here. Most guys in the pits, but we've got Tom Prof just starting a new lap ahead of Kachau, who's just come onto his out lap. There's a Mercedes ERT. Is that ERT Samba who came around the last? No, it's Brexit Beast starting a lap as well. Have to be careful he doesn't get caught up. And he's invalidated at turn 1 anyway. Let's see what Tom Prof can do. He comes flying through sector 2 on the brakes, hooking the car up on the curb and on the inside. Power down on the exit. Using all of the entry curb. Leaving a little bit on the table there though on the second curb of that little complex. Oh, and he gets a big wash of understeer as he turns in. That's not going to help him. He runs wide and that's an invalidation. We've got the least goated driver on the grid now starting his lap as well. Kachau coming through turn 3. DRS open as he makes his way down the hill. He's got 2 McLarens ahead of him. Hopefully they'll get out of the way. It's ERT Henry and his teammate Domi Lee. ERT Henry moves out of the way.
Domi, what do you...
Domi Lee doesn't move out of the way. And I think that's Kachau's lap in the bin there.
Oh, he's not going to be happy.
He is going to be screaming.
I feel bad for Phil's ears.
Honestly. Crosses the line to go only P15. ERT Samba retires there in the pits. I think we have...
I think that's going to be it for Kachau's qualifying.
Yeah, quite possibly. It looks like...
I'm not sure if he had enough fuel for another run.
Yeah, we've got Kalirov, I think, starting his lap now. Here's Yudi gets disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I saw that on the mini-map. I think he was just letting people go by, but you know what this game's like. There he is, parked up on the left-hand side there as we see Kalirov coming through Sector 1.
Yep.
I think that might be Honesy behind him. Yeah, that's Honesy behind him as well. He's backed out of it though. Gets cleanly out of the way for the Mercedes of Brexit Beast, but we'll keep on board with Kalirov. Kachau stays out of the way.
Don't look that difficult to do to me.
Oh, and Kalirov invalidates on the inside there. That's not a normal place to invalidate. You won't be happy with that.
It looks like that'll be his qualifying as well. He's running low on fuel now.
Yeah, I wonder he might have been on a little bit too much of the sangria. Because that's an uncharacteristic mistake there from Cali
I
Rob.
think he's starting another. Yep, he's gonna start another one right away.
Honesy isn't going to complete his lap. He's coming into the pits. Dommy Lee is on a hot lap now as well, it would seem. I think Stein and Calces are both on hot laps ahead of him as well. I think that's another retirement in the pits there.
Right
Stein's
on
up.
board with Henry. He looks to be on a flyer.
Yeah, he's the last of the McLaren, so we're going to go across the line in order as Stein's up goes purple in sector 2. Tomgo Prof gets out of the way nicely there. As we ride on board through the last couple of corners, he keeps it within the track limit so far. IRL Dundee goes P2. Steins up, opens the DRS on the short run to the line. Crosses the line, it's only good enough for third fastest.
Ooh.
Across the line comes Calces. What can he do? He's invalidated, so he can't do anything. Dommy Lee on the run up to the line now. Can he improve? Yes, he can, but it's only good enough for P2. Henry, the last chance possibly to snatch pole away from ERT Samba, and he can't do it.
Stays put. Oh my.
NRL Ben has invalidated as well, so that is everybody. I think we've got ERT Samba on pole. He only needed one run to do it.
Look at that top 6.
Dominic Lee in P2. He might be getting a penalty post race for the qualifying infringement there with Kachow, but for now he's going to be the second of the front row drivers. IRL Dundee is going to line up in P3. Steins up rounding off the second row of the grid. Then Honesy and ERT Henry just behind them. Then Vengeance and Calcis, then Toss, and then Calirup. If we have a look at the tyres, nobody within the top 10 managed to qualify on the mediums. Chahoud was obviously the only guy that set his fastest time on the mediums, and that was only good enough for P11. And there are your final qualifying results. No one good enough to get within a few, well, within 2/10 of ERT Samba. Okay, so barring any possible glitches, we should be moving straight on now into the race lobby. That's the hope anyway.
Austria is always a very deceiving race to have on the first round of the year because the qualifying is always so close anyway. And now you're trying to figure out where everyone's pace is, and the track is just lying to you.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique track as well. So it might not be reflective of where else we go later on in the season. Just waiting for everybody now to sort out their strategies and such, so hopefully we won't get any early ready ups.
Vengeance might follow suit in the race. So.
Okay, so just 5 seconds now until the beginning of the formation lap. So only about a minute and 30 until we see lights out for the race. As long as formation lap is on, which I would assume it would be, it is. ERT Samba leading them away. Be interesting to see what pace ERT Samba picks up here as well. I'm sure he'll want to look after those tyres as well as he can being on the softs. Let's have a look at the tyres throughout the field. We've got our predicted pit stop strategies there of a 2-stop and another 2-stop. The 1-stop is doable here, but I think the 2-stop is the quickest way to do it.
I was thinking a pretty easy soft medium now.
It'd be a soft medium with a lot of tyre management, I'd imagine. But we'll wait and see. It's unpredictable, and anybody can get the upper hand with strategy. It'd be interesting to see what Honesy does, because he'll probably do something absolutely mental and win. So only Mark of Kenya and Tom go prof outside the top 10 starting on the softs. Everybody else has elected to go for the mediums to open up that vast array of strategic options. Everybody in the top 10, of course, as we mentioned earlier, starting on the softs. Of course, the shortest formation lap of the season being Austria, as the AI has already taken over for the lead guys. As we see again the AWS predicted pit stop strategies. And here we go, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go after a long delay. Dominique gets the quicker reaction though at the very start, but ERT Samba gets away with the better traction. IRL Dundee holding on to P3, and it looks like ERT Henry has a little bit of a coming together there with the rear of Steinzat. He might have some damage from that. Dominique's going to tuck up behind ERT Samba. He isn't deploying any ERS though. It looks like he wants to set up the move perhaps into the next set of corners. If ERT Samba continues the pace from qualifying, then Domi will need to get him quickly or he will disappear. But Domi's had a pretty difficult corner there. He's tapped the rear of ERT Samba. He's using the ERS, but it's not going to be enough. Let's have a look through the field. There's a lot of fighting going on, I'm sure, further back. Exotic having a look down the inside. That's a massive lunge there from Mark of Kenya. I mean, who else would it be? Well, that's an absolute great move on the inside there. He's going to go side by side with Andre. Holds it around the outside. We've got yellow flags there. That looks like somebody off, and it's going to be Steinzap off.
Oh.
Not the start to the season that he would have wanted. ERT Samba's already pulled out 7 tenths to Domi Lee. He'll be wanting to break the very powerful DRS pretty damn quickly around here. Dundee just trying to keep within the DRS as well of Domi Lee. Of course, that'll be enabled in a couple laps' time. Henry looking pretty close to the rear of Dundee. Vengeance might be in a position to make a move on Honesy here. The Red Bull versus the Ferrari, as they race up the hill. PhD Vengeance taking a wide entry. He cuts in across the apex trying to get the drive out of the corner, but Honesy gets good traction there. Might be just enough to help him keep ahead until the next set of corners. Stuart Little trying to pressure Exotic here. He looks to the inside. They make a little bit of contact. Exotic needs to go deep because of that tap, and Stuart Little gets the drive. They're going to run side by side though up to this curb. Exotic on the inside as Stuart washes wide. David Jahood looks like he might be a little bit interested as well in making an opportunistic move, but he can't quite make it happen. Do we have a spinner there? That's a big crash there from Brexit Beast. That could be a safety car. Hopped onto him at the perfect time as I just saw a little wiggle of the dot on the mini-map. I thought you might be getting some oversteer. There's a few cars caught up there as well. Mark of Kenya is one of them. Andre also looks to be another.
I guess that's not bringing out a safety car?
We could well see a safety car, but yeah, it's taken a little while if it's going to be one. Stuart Little's run really wide here though, so David Jahood is going to be pressurising him up the hill. There's pressure from the Red Bull on the Williams behind them as well, as down the inside goes David Jahood. He makes contact with the rear of Exotic. Exotic's been spun round by David Jahood. Kachow's not getting in amongst it, he's made his way into the top 10.
How about P19 to P10 in 2 laps, Kachow?
Great start as they look to go 3 wide perhaps into the right-hander. Kachow looks to make an opportunistic move on David Jahood as Tom Prof makes a great dive bomb, and Kachow's going to switch back here. Oh, it was Yurdi actually. Kachow's ahead of them. Yurdi on the mediums and Tom Prof on the softs. He tries to hold it around the entirety of the outside. We've got somebody off there. It's Calcis in the gravel. Doesn't look to have any damage, but he's going to lose a hell of a lot of time. He's already fallen behind his previously stricken teammate of Steinzat. Let's go back to the front, and Sam has got a massive 2-second lead. The two McLarens getting close together though here on track. We could see some team orders perhaps coming into play. IRL Dundee picking up a 3-second time penalty already. That's going to hurt his race, picking it up on lap 4. He can't get another one of them. ERT Henry just electing to stay behind his teammate. Cali Rob and Toss fighting here as well, as are NRL Ben and Tom Prof, and it's just an absolute civil war back here. It's just absolute insanity. So many cars you could throw a blanket over about half the grid here. David Jahood behind Yurdis behind Tom Prof. None of them look to make a move though into this next right-hander, which is probably for the best. No one looked to be too close. Looks like we've got some glitched yellow flags as well. Hopefully that will sort itself out at some point. There might be a little bit of debris left on the track still. This race is looking like it's just going to be a fight for P2, because we have ERT Henry's actually gotten past Tommy Lee. That might have been some team orders here between the two McLaren guys. Holmesy's going to be pressuring Tommy Lee there though. There's not going to be any team orders between a McLaren and a Ferrari, I can tell you that much. Dundee picking up another 3-second time penalty. All the way down in P15 though, so his race is pretty done for. We've got a great little drag race going on here though between Toss and Cali Rob. Toss manages to get the move done before the braking zone with the DRS.
Henry's starting to cut that gap down from Samba. It looks like we could have the ERT boys slug it out.
Yeah, but Steinzat makes a move past Yurdis. Didn't look like he had much space there on the outside, but Yurdis left him just enough for him to sneak past. He must have got an absolutely fantastic exit to be able to get the move done in that fashion. Let's go back up to the front. Dommy Lee's picked up a penalty as well. So clearly those guys are pushing. Yeah, Hemi's brought the gap down by 3/10 that lap. Skachow sets the fastest lap of the way so far. I'm still amazed we didn't get a safety car for the crash with Brexit Beast. But it's very much looking like the top 5 are in their own little league here. The gap between Vengeance and Cali Rob 3 seconds. ERT Sam has pulled the gap out a little bit more now through the first sector though. We've got a spinner that looks to be either Andre or Dundee. And the exit turn 1. Hopefully he's managed to keep it away from the walls. Dommy Lee looking to have a little bit of lag there, it would seem. Holmesy's still right on the back of him. It was IRL Dundee, I think, that had the spin. Yep, he's without a wing. Struggling to make the corners. I must say it was a little bit over-ambitious of him on the brakes there, considering he had no front wing. Samba crosses the line. ERT Henry picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, and he just can't bring that distance down. It looks like Samba's just got too much pace in reserve. We've got, is that Kachow that's off? No, it's the other Aston Martin of Yurdis.
It looks to be Tom Goproth.
So there's a great little fight here between Ben and David Jahood. It looks like the guys ahead of them could be getting into it as well, but look at this, a 4-car battle. They're going to go 3 wide into this corner maybe even. Jahood backs off. Tonga Prof might have got a little bit of wing damage there because he did tap the rear, and it's going to be a drag race now. Steinzap gets a poor exit. NRL Ben wants to try and keep his advantage all the way down into this corner, but that's an absolutely fantastic exit from David Jahood. Is NRL Ben going to try and fight it down the inside? Yes, he is. He uses the curb, hooks himself up, getting that rotation. It's going to be a drag race now. I'm sure they're both deploying the ERS. NRL Ben may have to just duck out of this one, though, because David Jahood has the inside line. IRL Dundee retiring in the pits and leaving the session. I can't say I blame him. Stuart Little picking up 3 seconds, so there's quite a few of them throughout the field already. Let's move back up to the front of the grid. They're all in a little bit of a DRS train here, but Dommy Lee is running low on ERS. That's going to be very important, I think, for this battle with Honesy. But Honesy just doesn't quite get the exit that he needs. Vengeance could try and put him under pressure, but he's going to be too far back also. Let's go back to the absolute madness that is NRL Ben and friends. Steinzap and Tom Go Prof both with great overspeed coming down the straight. Ben could be under pressure here from Steinzap, who's going to look to make the move down the inside. A great recovery drive from him so far after the earlier spin. There's a little bit of contact there from Tom Go Prof, and Steinzap sent into the wall by NRL Ben. It looked like NRL Ben maybe got a little bit of oversteer and just collected Steinzap, who's really been in the wars today. Ben's come out worse as well for it. Looks like Tom may have gotten a little bit of wing damage as well, because he did tap the back of the car ahead of him. Steinzap now with his teammate Calcis. Steinzap lets him go, so he has damage as well. As we go to the final corner of the lap.
One thing with battling Honesy, he's very patient. He doesn't really give you any ideas to when he's going to pull a move. He kind of waits till you've blown your ERS.
As we've got a spinner, that's ERT Samba. That's ERT Samba in the wall.
Oh no.
On the exit of turn 1, he's got no front wing, it would seem. He does not have a front wing. He could have just thrown away the easiest win of his life here. ERT Henry and Dommy Lee are going to be having an absolute rave. I know Dommy Lee's already got his Jim Banger Spotify playlist on. Honesy's putting him under pressure though into this right-hander. Honesy got so much more ERS than Dommy Lee, who has just wasted all of his. Who's just retired there? That's Tom Go Prof. No, Kachow seems to be okay, but Tom Go Prof has found himself in the wall. Calcis managing to avoid it, and that is a full course safety car, which is an absolute blessing there for Samba, who could have been really hung out to dry by that damage. ERT Henry's going to be coming into the pits. Dommy Lee being a little bit naughty, dropping all the way back from his teammate because he doesn't want to get absolutely destroyed in the pits from the double stack. This could be looked at by the stewards because it's slightly excessive. But who knows? That's not for me to answer. Toss comes into the pits, which means Stuart Little's going to take the net race lead. Not the net race lead, the race lead.
They timed the double stack perfectly.
Yeah, it looks like they've done pretty well there. Dommy Lee didn't seem to get held up. And he hasn't gotten held up because he's still ahead of Honesy.
He's getting held.
And he's not ahead of Honesy actually, no. Honesy's managed to jump Dommy Lee. It can be so difficult to keep track of it in the pits because the way the pit system works in this game doesn't seem to make sense half the time. So we're going to have the most biblical Stuart Little train the world has ever seen. Yep, let's go and have a look at tyre. So we've got Stuart Little who stayed out on his mediums. He's in P1. Doja, who did the same, he's in second. ERT Henry in third, with Honesy behind all of these guys on the mediums, all the way down to NRL Ben in P13 on fresh softs.
This will get pretty interesting towards the end of the race.
And yeah,
these meetings will hold up.
Kachow trying to take those hards to the end. I feel like we may see mostly a two-stop strategy here, to be honest. It's going to be interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody went for the two-stop, but Honesy went for the one-stop and won it that way. That's my little prediction, but we'll have to wait and see. We're waiting for the whole of the queue to catch up to the safety car now. Mark of Kenya being the furthest behind. I think he is a lap down as well, so
I think this is saved.
It might be his race over anyway. Yeah, well, you never know. You could still win it if you made a lot of good moves. It would be very difficult.
Yeah, getting past
but you never know.
And Honesy is a task.
That's the thing with Henry though. A lot of the time, you just got to wait for him to bin it on his own.
Yeah.
Don't go near him. Just let him do his thing.
But if you're waiting for Honesy to do that, you'll be waiting for a few weeks.
Kachawa in the pits again. He's gone onto mediums. So I think what's happened is Kachawa started on the mediums, come into the pits to set the hard tyre so that he meets the 2 compound rule, and then it's gone back onto the mediums because that's the tyre that he wants to be on. So yeah, Kachawa not in a great situation.
I'm
Down
thinking these
in
guys will try to
P16.
take these to the end. I really don't think the 2-stop will be worth it.
Yeah, with the safety car as well, it's starting to lean more towards that, I think. The leader's on lap 11 and Mark's on lap 8, but he's having fun. That's all that matters. But I think because Mock is so far behind, we aren't going to see the safety car restarting this lap. I think we're going to have to wait another lap. Unfortunately. So yeah, this is really lending itself to the one stop.
Bruin not lapped.
Mock saying that he isn't lapped, so perhaps that is just a just an issue with the game doing the game thing. But I don't know, because the split also says he's 5 minutes behind, so who knows. He did join quali, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was desynced.
So we did have Ben going on the sauce. It'd be interesting to see if he can gain any positions here.
Yeah, but you think you'd be in a little bit of trouble if everybody is going to the end. I mean, those softs,
Yeah.
I don't see how you're going to make them last to the end of the race. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible at all, so I think he's definitely set himself on for another pit stop. We will see the safety car in this lap. So we're going to have Stuart Little leading the way with David Shahid on behind him, both of them on those worn medium tyres. Then ERT Henry, Honesy and Domi Lee, the net podium, are going to be just behind on their fresh mediums. And here we go. Stuart Little's bolted. He's caught David Hood napping. Henry's going to be on the back of David Hood almost immediately. Ben picking up the 3-second time pen. Chow looking very close to the back of Andre, but he doesn't go for the move there. Andre picking up a 3-second time penalty. Game seems to be giving us yellow flags for some reason, but we move. ERT Henry may want to look at getting David Hood on this straight, but he doesn't get the exit that he needs. Stewart's still going to be leading the way. Honesy's dropped back a little bit from Henry. Might just be saving his ERS for now.
It seems a bit out of character for his setup. He usually runs so low wings, he's a rocket in a straight line, but it doesn't seem like that today.
Yeah, perhaps he's elected to take it in a slightly different direction. Hopefully the game decides it wants to sort out these yellow flags, because it's ridiculous. Hopefully this isn't going to stop any overtaking. I hope it doesn't. As ERT Henry is off, he's made a little bit of contact with David Hood, but he manages to recover. David Hood's going to lose a position here to Domi Lee, who may be able to get the position on Honesy.
I think the game was making
Yeah, I think the game made Honesy give it back. Vengeance runs out of space there on the outside and has to go off track. Domi's going to be coming under pressure here from Calirob and from PHG Vengeance. Are either of them going to look to dive it down the inside? Nope. They elect not to. It's Calirob versus Vengeance now in a drag race down to turn 4. Vengeance gets a better exit. Calirob could duck back into the slipstream here though, and he elects not
around the
to.
outside of Stewart.
Yeah.
Decides to back out.
Gives the old up and under, but he can't get past. David Shahood now out of the 1 second window as well of those guys.
I think these guys have made a big mistake
This
staying out.
Calirob goes down the inside of ERT Samba into the last couple of corners. Calirob has to back out of that one though, probably pretty wise there. But he's going to be getting a stronger toe from ERT Samba than he's going to be getting from Vengeance, so could maybe look to make a move on him. There's a few guys into the pits, and we've got a spinner there. That's ERT Vengeance, PhD Vengeance, sorry, who spins off the track. Ben has retired, I think, in the pits, and yeah, ERT Henry has departed from the Stuart Little train. Got off at the next stop. Stewart could try and put a little bit of pressure on Henry, but I doubt he'd want to try and make a move on him really. Looking at the tyre offset.
It looks like those mediums are screaming.
This is perfect though for Henry. He needs to try and just pull away from Stuart Little now with the fresh tyre advantage, whilst Honesy is stuck behind Stewart and David Shahood.
Scary moment from Stewart there.
And we've got somebody off as well in the background. Nope. I've teleported back to the pits. Nice. As Vengeance gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I mean, this game is so broken. I can't even... I don't even know where to begin. David Shahood out of ERS already though, and he's still trying to use all of it to stay with Stuart Little, but he's going to be a sitting duck to Honesy. I think if he can't get past Stuart here, he can't. Stewart doesn't look to get a great exit there though. He could put him under a little bit of pressure. David Shahood has no ERS, but he's getting such a strong toe from Stuart Little that he might not even need it. Doesn't decide to go down the inside though, and ERT Henry has already pulled out a 1.5 seconds to P2.
Honesy may need to get moving here.
Yeah, Honesy really needs to try and make his way through these slower runners. He's got ERT Henry's teammate as well, Dommy Lee, tucked right up behind him as well. ERT Samba also going to be getting involved in P6, so this is going to be very interesting to see. Dommy Lee making a tiny bit of contact there with Honesy, gets a 3-second time pen. Samba's onto the grass a little bit there. Is Dommy Lee going to send it back up the inside of Samba? I doubt it, and he doesn't. Samba gets a little bit too late on the brakes though, opens himself up to the switchback. He has to run off track, getting a big wobble on. Did he hit the wall there? I think he may have. Somebody was off behind him as well. I'm not sure if they recovered. I don't think they did. It looks like that might have been Toss the Cabba in P12, unfortunately for him.
You nod.
Dommy Lee side by side now with Stuart Little. Can he tuck back into the slipstream? No, he can't. He's just a little bit too far alongside. He's going to send it down the inside of Stuart Little. Stuart leaves the space. Now it's a competition of who can get the better traction and the better drive up to these corners. Can Dommy hold this around the outside? It looks like he picks up a tiny little bit of understeer on the entry, but it doesn't matter. He's managed to use the grip of that fresher tyre to just go sailing around the outside. David Shahood looks like he's going to be an absolute sitting duck. I don't know why he would be using ERS here when he's already got none of it anyway. Honestly, if I was David Shahood, I'd get a bad exit out of here on purpose and let Honesy get me before the DRS detection line, because there's literally nothing he can do here. But ERT Henry already 3 seconds in the lead. But he has got 6 seconds of penalty, so it's going to be very difficult for him to pull that out to Honesy unless Honesy picks up a pen, which does not seem very likely. Down the inside goes Stuart Little on Calirob. Into turn 3, they make a little bit of contact, but it's... it all looks pretty fair. Calirob and Stewart banging wheels up the hill. ERT Samba's going to decide to go and make this 3 wide. And of course, that's only going to end up in disaster. They've all gotten into it there. Samba's got damage. The Ferrari's off into the wall. It looks like Stuart Little had a little bit of contact as well. He may have some damage.
They're a bit too ambitious there.
That was really, yeah, I think the only way you can describe that from Samba was idiotic, to be honest. Trying to make it 3 wide into that corner was never going to work. So yeah, I really don't know what he was thinking there. A complete lack of patience. Exotic seems to have come off worse. He's got massive damage. Not a wing in sight. Absolute disaster there. That was never going to work. As soon as I saw Samba move to the inside, I knew it was going to be absolute chaos. Andre speeding in the pit lane now. That's not going to help his race out. We're over the halfway point now as well in this race. Domi on the back of Honesy. He needs to really fight with Honesy and really hold him up. And there's been a big coming together though. That's Samba who's round with Stuart Little as well. Vengeance managing to pick his way through that. And Samba has just been an absolute disaster area this race. Honesy and Domi Lee currently in the horseshoe. Yeah, Domi Lee needs to see if he can try and get on the back of Honesy and just hold Honesy up now. Honesy drifting, it looked like almost there. Through that corner, the rear screaming for grip. But yeah, Domi really needs to help his teammate out.
DRS.
Yeah, he's pushing to try and stay with Honesy, but he needs to. He needs to hold him up for ERT Henry to sneak.
He's not looking too high on it either.
Out of there. Yeah, they're both using it to try and they've both been using it to try and pull away from each other. As down the inside goes Domi Lee to take P2 on track. Honesy can't hold it around the outside, but he's gonna probably have the DRS. No, he's not. Domi Lee's gonna have the DRS, so it's going to be very difficult for Honesy to try and fight this one back. He's going to have to wait for the next set of straights, I think. I thought Andre and Steinzak may be going for it there. They aren't. Kalsis, Yurdi and Calibob are pretty close together as well. And then we have the fight for P2 here between Domi Lee and Honesy. Slowing each other up to the point where David Jahud is just keeping within touch and distance. He just needs to keep within that 1 second every time they get to a detection point, and those guys will just keep pulling him along. Yurdi, Kalsis and Calibob all so close to that. It's like watching F1 eSports but just without the skill. Through the last corner they go. Yurdi moves to the inside trying to break the slipstream. Kalsis follows him but only for a second. Kalsis maybe trying to set up his exit there. Looks like he's gotten a good one. Yurdi's out of ERS. He's probably not going to be able to defend this. Honesy's past Domi Lee as well. We're going to keep on board with this one and then we'll switch back to that on the run up to turn 4. Kalsis going back past Yurdis again though. It looked like Yurdis maybe had to lift off and give the position back. Kaidob tries to hold it around the outside but he can't. Let's go back up to these guys. Domi Lee with the DRS open. Goes down the inside on Honesy. Manages to get his braking done though and he doesn't leave himself very vulnerable to the switchback, although Honesy's still going to try it. Tries to outdrag him but he's not going to be able to and he's going to have to fall in behind. Let's go back here to this little 3-car battle here of Yurdis, Calibob and Kalsis. Kalsis looking to maybe pull away a little bit through the corner section. Looks like Steinzap had disconnected. He's managed to get back into the lobby fortunately. Yurdi running a little bit wide on the exit. That's not going to help him. He's picked up a lot of oversteer there. He's going to be under pressure from Calibob. Will Calibob want to make this move down the inside? Yes, he will. Great move there by Calibob, but he may be open to the DRS pass from Yurdis behind. As we look ahead, Honesy might be able to pressure Domi Lee here. He has the DRS open. He lifts off though. He doesn't want the position just yet. He wants to wait. Don't know if you could hear then just the change of the engine note as Honesy went off the throttle. Domi Lee picking up a bit of oversteer even though he's managed to still somehow get a pretty decent exit. Not going to be good enough to relieve himself of any pressure though from Honesy, who just fills the wing mirrors. Exotic picking up a penalty as well. It's hard to keep track of them, there's that many. You're just trying to pressure Calibob a little bit as well here. These guys still going at it all the time. And Honesy just putting so much pressure on Domi Lee, but Domi Lee has got to be holding him up. Only 1.8 seconds now that ERT Henry needs to pull to be out of the DRS, out of the penalty range. And open goes the DRS for Honesy. I don't think he'll want to make a move into turn 1 though, because he didn't even want to make a move into turn 3. Gets a little bit of oversteer, but manages to sort it out and get a good exit. Tucked up behind Domi Lee. Will he want to go for the move here, or will he let off again? Doesn't look like he wants the move. But this is always bringing David Jahood back into the mix, who they don't want getting involved in this fight. And Domily just seems to get a really good exit out of turn 3 every single lap, and it's just keeping him safe now into turn 4. We saw last lap he got a little bit of oversteer, but he still managed to nail the acceleration. Calirob pressuring Calcis now, who's fallen back a little bit. He pulled out a little bit of a gap earlier on, but that's starting to evaporate a little bit now. Calirob really heaping the pressure onto the AlphaTauri driver. Yurdis just watching from behind. Now let's go back to the onboard of Honesy. It feels like Honesy could make a move here on Domi if he wanted to, but he's just not been going for it. Steinzap comes out of the pits. Hopefully he doesn't give Domi the DRS, because that would be very unfortunate interference, and it looks like Honesy's got to have Domi here. Domi gets the bad exit. Shows Honesy the outside, but he's clean past before the corner. Domi doesn't want to dive that back down the inside. He'll just pick up the DRS. If he can nail this exit, he can put Honesy under a lot of pressure into turn 4. DRS open, but he's not using the ERS. He might need to just stay behind here. I don't think he's going to be close enough. It'd have to be a send, and he doesn't decide to send it. Calirob manages to get past Calcis as well. I think that was probably into turn 3. Dominic Lee just needs to stick behind Honesy now.
He has struggled in Sector 3 the past 4 or 5 laps, so it'll be interesting to see if Honesy can break away here, finally.
Yeah, and now we have ERT Samba right up behind Andre. This looks like it's going to be the easiest move Samba's ever done in his life. And yeah, he's through before the braking zone even.
Henry with 9 seconds of pins now.
Yeah, the win disappearing, I think, from him. If we have a look at the penalty situation, Stuart Little looks to have no chance of... Oh, and that's Samba. That's Samba off. Into the wall at the horseshoe. This could be a safety car, which would be absolutely horrendous for ERT Henry. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Maybe he just ran a little bit wide, pushing a little bit too much, got caught on the gravel and it span him off, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think there'll be a safety car with it being so close to the barrier there.
Yeah, it looks like we've gotten away with it, because I think it would have been called by now anyway. And there we are, they've gotten that Mercedes away anyway. Honesy and Domi Lee though, still the battle that's on the forefront of everybody's minds coming through this double right-hander. Domi Lee struggling a little bit in the dirty air. Honesy with the big penalty advantage over ERT Henry and Domi Lee there as well. So all he needs to do is just stay where he is. He doesn't need to take any risks. Here goes Calcis, putting Calirob under pressure, but he just can't get a good enough exit. Don't think he's going to be close enough this time to look at making the move, as we've got a little bit of a timing glitch, it would appear.
How about Yurdi into P6?
Yeah, Yurdi's having a fantastic race, and he's got Vengeance with 5 seconds behind him as well, so he's got the penalty advantage there, unless that gets removed in the steward's room post-race. Calcis looks to be struggling to keep with Calirob. It'd be a nice game if we could, you know, have some timings. But I guess that is a little bit too expectant. .6 is the gap there, as
so Yurdi dives into the pits.
As Toss gives us a trademark pronto through the horseshoe. May even fall behind Andre here, who's going to come out of this corner with a hell of a lot more momentum, but it looks like Toss is just going to be able to hold out in P10. Don't think he has any damage, he'll just have to go slowly. Oh, okay, he must have damage, I think. As into the pits he goes. Yellow flags there just seem to be a glitch, unless it's Samba. No, it wouldn't be Samba retiring because he's already retired. Yeah, Calcis just trying to stick with Calirob. Seems to be struggling with it though. And yeah, Yurdis out on those fresh soft tyres. He's going to be flying, but he's got a big gap ahead to David Chahoud, who's not going to be able to get because of his penalties. I think this might be the best that he can do. And who's that? It's Stuart Little. Both Alfa Romeos have had a spin there in the same place. This race, he's lost his wing as well. Wisely lets Exotic go by and makes it clear that he's coming into the pits. Henry still leading the way, but that's looking like it's only going to be enough for P2. Perhaps Tommy Lee doesn't want to fight Honesy now, he just wants to sort of stay behind and see if Honesy can pull him up closer to Henry and perhaps get him within the penalty window. Stuart Little having an absolutely agonising stop here. The only thing slower than the Stuart Little train is the Stuart Little pit crew, it would seem. Tommy Lee with the DRS open on the run down to turn 1. He's quite far behind Honesy now. Caltis really dropping back as well from P4. Stuart Little coming out of the pits into this fight. He's already been lapped by Henry. He gets himself out of the way. He's just going to probably try and pick up the DRS. Tommy Lee could look to go for a move here, though. He does look down the inside. Honesy waits to turn in to just see if he will send it or not, but he decides not to. Tommy Lee with the DRS open now, though. He's going to be tucked up behind Honesy. Honesy's DRS light blinking, but Tommy's doing the same. Trying to put him under pressure, but it's just not enough.
Honesy with a 3-second now as well.
Yeah, I mean, if Henry can pull a couple of seconds, you never know, but it's still looking like Honesy will have the win here. But Tommy Lee can win this for his teammate. Yeah, I mean, Calibob is already within the penalty window of Tommy Lee, so he's looking good for a P3 as well. Tommy Lee just needs to try and hold Honesy up for his teammate here. If Honesy loses a second and a bit to Henry, and Henry doesn't get any more pens, and you never know. David Chahoud has passed Vengeance, who looks like he's had a bit of a spin. Calcis trying to pressure Calibob. He's got the overspeed. He dives down to the inside. They go side by side. Calcis is behind there, I think, at the DRS line, so he's going to get a second chance to out-drag Calibob down into turn 4. He's got the DRS open. He's got the slipstream, although he's electing not fully to use it, and he lifts off there. Maybe gets a little bit spooked by Calibob moving, or maybe for whatever reason he doesn't want to make the move. Stuart Little,
not careful here, he could take himself out of podium contention with this.
Yeah, and Exotic retires there in the pits, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's anything on track there that we need to worry about. Dommy's struggling to stay within the 1 second window of Honesy, though. Stuart picking up 3 seconds as well.
Now.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not careful, he's going to lose the position to Calces as well.
It could be a strategic
Calibob with a big bit of oversteer coming out of turn 1.
He has 3 seconds anyway. If you just stay as close to him, you will gain that back.
Yeah, perhaps, but Calibob's had an absolutely terrible exit there. I don't think he had any choice to give the position to Calcis there. We'll see if he tries to fight it back. It looks like he's going to, because he's enabled his DRS. He's tucked up in the slipstream. He used a little bit of overtake at the start of the straight. Doesn't fancy a dive. Dominic caught a little bit back up to Honesy again here, though. But he just seems a little bit too far back each lap to be able to capitalise on the DRS advantage. And this is going to be a great little fight here. I think that's Steins up as well behind, who's been lapped, but he'll want to be perhaps making his way through the field. And Kalio gets a great exit, and off goes Kalsis into the wall. He uses a reset to track there, which we've just caught on stream, so that will be a post-race penalty for Kalsis as well. As Steinzap unlaps himself, which is probably going to help Kalirov actually, because Steinzap seems to have a lot of pace right now, to just follow him behind with the DRS. But they might be swapping positions because of the blue flags. Is that a McLaren going slowly? Or is it just glitches? It's probably just glitches because this is the game that we're on. And yeah, Honesy's lost the position. It must have been Honesy who's made the mistake there. He's down into P3 now. And it looks like... yeah, he's currently not going to take the position away from Henry. He won't take the win if everything stays as it is right now. He's out of ERS as well. Has it just started to rain? It has just started to rain. I thought it was getting a little bit cloudy, but I didn't think that was going to happen. We've got some rainfall here. I don't think it's going to be enough to send anybody onto intermediate tyres. It's way too late in the race, but that's going to throw a spanner in the works for sure. If you can handle very difficult conditions here, you may be in a pretty good position. Well, Hornsey does have the pad hacks.
He's tiptoeing on the edge of the 6-second mark right here.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. I'm going to keep leader timing up for a while. I think as Toss retires, is that in the pits or is that coming out of the last corner? Let's ride on board with Henry. It looks like it's actually on the track, like it's not in the pits. It isn't in the pits.
It is. We see a safety car.
It's way too late now, I think, for a safety car with only 2 laps remaining. I don't think the game would call it because it would have to finish under safety car, which obviously the game doesn't do. And we don't do in real life, apparently, anymore. Yeah, we've got a bit of a lull in proceedings here, actually. Stewart on the back of Henry now as well, unlapping himself. Honesy now within the 6 seconds. This is going to be so close. Henry, I think, has a little bit more ERS. Yeah, he does have more ERS than Honesy.
I think it's the DRS from Domi that's really gaining the time there.
Yeah, Domi needs to play the team game here. If he slows down through these corners and just holds up Honesy. Yeah, precisely that. Slow Honesy down and your teammate gets the win. But he does, of course, have to think about his own race as well. He needs every second he can get to try and keep ahead of the guys ahead of him. Because right now it's pretty close between him and David Jahood.
Very well lose the podium.
I think the podium's already gone, to be honest. Kalirob only 6 seconds behind him. As down the inside goes Honesy in very difficult conditions. He has a little bit of a lock-up. He pushes to Domi Lee off the track.
He gets the DRS.
And he gets the DRS. I'm sure Domi isn't too happy about that, but Honesy's done what he needed to do there. That was crucial for his race. He had to get past Domi Lee. Now he's within 4 tenths of a second of ERT Henry's pens. So as it stands, he would win this race on penalties. Henry using his ERS as well. He's really just pushing as much as he can. But Stuart Little may help him immensely here if he can give him the DRS and pull him along as he unlaps himself.
We have Kachow left the server.
It's the last lap of the race now. This is going to be so close, only 2 tenths in it. ERT Henry with a lock-up going into turn 3. Struggling with the traction as well. He's using his ERS down the straight.
Real squirrely move from Domi there.
It's gonna be so close. I think Honesy is just gonna get it, but it's really dependent on how this last sector goes for the 2 drivers. 4 tenths is the gap now. Jonesy getting a little wide as we've got, I think that's PhD Vengeance who's gotten into some sort of bother here. Yurdi's going to take the position from him, but he's probably going to lose it again on pens. But let's go back to our leader. ERT Henry, as he runs the final corner, he's going to take the win on track, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He takes the checkered flag, crosses the line as Stuart Little yeets himself into the wall. But Honesy's done just enough here, it would appear, on the run up to the line to win it by 0.2 of a second is Honesy. Dominique crosses the line and he has to wait in anticipation to see just how far he drops back. Caliwab takes the last position on the podium. David Jahood can't take it as well, can't take the position from Domi. That's how that's going to end up. Calcis is going to take P6 here. Yurdi with 11 seconds of penalties is going to cross the line in P7, but I think he's going to drop down to P8 at least. Maybe even P9, depending on if Mark is actually lapped or not. Vengeance taking a very creative route across the line. Andre, the last of the guys to cross the line with 17 seconds of penalties. He takes the checkered flag in difficult conditions. And there we go, what a race to start the season here.
Still a great drive from Henry. He almost clawed himself out of the my words escape me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet another Honesy and Ferrari win.
And there we are, there's the final results. Honesy takes the win. ERT Henry coming home in second by only 0.2. Calirob taking the opportunistic podium through penalties from Domi Lee, who's in P4. David Jahood in P5 with Calcis in P6. Mock takes P7 from P18. Solid drive there by Mock. Vengeance in P8 in the Red Bull. Yurdi in P9 from last place. Another fantastic drive. And Andre takes P10 to round off the points. Steinzap down in P11, as is Stuart Little, and then below that we have the non-finishers.
Stuart Little taking fastest lap.
And yeah, that was absolutely crazy, but what a race. I need to dart off, but I hope everybody enjoyed the broadcast. And we'll be back next week for round 2.